Ladies and gentlemen, let's Red Gaming video. You may remember rumours concerning Nintendo and showing off new hardware E3 2014. Well, good news everybody, they are indeed going to be showing new hardware at E3 2014. Bad news everybody, it's not a new console. It's actually going to be an NFC reader for the 3DS, and the idea behind this is it's going to be part of a suite of cross-compatible 3DS and Wii U games. So basically, this hardware was announced during an investor briefing, and it's in Japanese, hence the fact that it took quite a long time for it to be translated to us Western folks. But the idea behind this is that we're going to be seeing a new series of games and figure codenamed Nintendo Figurines in the works. So for the 3DS, the actual reader uses infrared communication, and with the Wii U, it's going to use the gamepad's built-in NFC abilities. So what we're going to be seeing here, effectively, is that the NFC reader will be used in conjunction with the figurines, and it's not just read-only, so it's not just like a ROM type of situation. It can write to the figurines, it can write data, so you can basically customize your characters to your own taste. And remember, just yesterday, Nintendo were saying, well, we've got these great IPs and these great characters, and we're going to start leveraging them, and I guess this is how they're planning to do that. Now, apparently, these figurines have been, and the technology that goes with them, has been in the works for about a year. And we're also going to be seeing not only them at E3 2014, but a number of new software titles too. And so, as I said, this is just one of the initiatives that the new business development department at Nintendo is going to be utilizing. Now, previously, Nintendo had refused to comment regarding, well, actually, no, it hadn't refused to comment. It said, no, we're not bringing any new hardware to E3 2014. But it must have referred to consoles. So in other words, they were being a bit sneaky here. They basically was like, no, we're not bringing any new hardware as in the traditional medium. They weren't referring apparently to, well, these figurines. So we're getting third-party titles for the 3DS like Monster Hunter 4G, and we're also going to, of course, be seeing Pokemon, international releases of Tomodachi Life. And as for the Wii U, Nintendo are placing a lot of hopes, prayers and dreams on Super Smash Bros. As well as Mario Kart 8. So in other words, those two titles typically do well with the more casual gamer as well as the more hardcore gamer as well. Obviously Smash Bros, for example, is going to be involved in a couple of large tournaments, no doubt within the next couple of years as well. So obviously fighting game tournaments. But final note regarding the Wii U. Nintendo have said that it's basically got 3.6 million forecast, and it's made its end-of-year financial report is conservative. So the company doesn't really have the stock at hand to meet this target. So the hardware is no longer selling, technically speaking, at a loss. You also might recall from the early reports concerning these investor meetings that Nintendo were saying, well, we're also going to be utilizing smart devices, and this is true. Mario Kart TV is going to be available pretty damn quickly, and this is going to allow players to share clips and rankings of their technology, and it's also still looking at ways to license its technologies. Meanwhile, Nintendo themselves are going to be moving their development teams to a new building. This is going to be happening in around June time. So the purpose behind this is that they're going to be able to collaborate and share with each other better than their current design. In other words, their current design is more, I suppose you could say, like more insular, more cubicle-like. Interestingly enough, investors naturally asked the question everyone's mind, well, are you going to be releasing a new console, a new Wii U 2 or whatever the hell it's going to be ended up being called, this year or in the foreseeable future? And Iwata, who is of course the president, said he couldn't predict these things right at this point. He's even said that Nintendo won't release a new product, a new hardware, if the current users aren't satisfied. In other words, they want to get the satisfaction level up a little bit. I'm guessing the reason behind that is because they don't want to take the risk of basically ploughing in tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of cash into basically research, development, marketing, and so on of a new system if they, quite simply put, don't know how it's going to sell. I guess that makes some logical sense, but it's also going to be very much an uphill battle for them. But then I suppose it's going to be an uphill battle for them if they did release a new console anyway. So I guess the technical term for this is half of one, six a dozen of the other. So the end result for Nintendo, it's not all doom and gloom. I'm not exactly sure how popular these figurines are going to be. I think they're either going to be seen as a novelty or they're just going to catch on complete and utter fire, which is pretty atypical of Nintendo stuff. It either seems to do extremely well or seems to fall into obscurity. Obviously, Nintendo do have some cash cows at the moment. I imagine the timing of the new Pokemon certainly wasn't coincidental. I guess we're just going to have to see what happens on this one. They're remaining optimistic, but of course they're going to project that to outsiders, particularly investors. Their cash reserves are dwindling, but at the same time, as I've said, they are utilizing this cash. It's not like they're just going outside, setting it on fire. They're actually utilizing this to invest in new technologies. They're using this to obviously create these figurines. They're using it to buy buildings and to obviously update all their office technology and so on and so forth and so forth. So I don't think Nintendo are out of this. The biggest one is that they need to find alternate revenue sources, and I'm still unsure just how much of a big deal for many people games like Mario and Smash Bros are gonna be for gamers who are just not interested in them. It, to me, is just a way to grab already existing Nintendo fans, and I think, as I've said earlier in a previous video, people want these games, yes, but they also want other titles, but at the end of the day, they've only got a finite amount of resources and people working in Nintendo. So while we would love to see games like, you know, new Star Fox, Metroid, Mario, Zelda, all of these games released simultaneously, you know, well, not simultaneously, but within the space of a few months of one another, in reality, all these games cost a hell of a lot of money, and Nintendo themselves have admitted that, you know what, switching to HD, in other words, increased fidelity and the graphical quality that is expected, you can't really smudge textures with, you know, higher resolution, therefore it takes longer in development time. Anyway guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the video, I'll see you soon, take care, and bye for now.